When we think about aliens, we often imagine them as advanced beings from distant galaxies, arriving here on spacecraft that defy the very limits of physics. It's hard to even understand their technology. Crafts that might travel faster than light, making our fastest rockets, like SpaceX's Starship, look like toys in comparison. But what if aliens don't rely solely on spacecraft? What if they're using something far more mysterious and powerful to reach Earth? Enter the concept of alien portals and gateways that could instantly connect distant worlds to ours. And there's one place in the United States that seems to be a hotspot for these interdimensional phenomena. A place filled with UFO sightings, strange creatures, and unexplained occurrences, Skinwalker Ranch. Brace yourself, because this tale could completely rewrite what we think we know about extraterrestrial travel and interdimensional mysteries.
StarXtreme.
Skinwalker Ranch, formerly called Sherman Ranch, covers around 512 acres and is located southeast of Ballard, Utah. It is known for its association with paranormal events and UFO sightings. The name is derived from the Skinwalker of Navajo legend, which relates to vengeful shamans. In Navajo culture, a skinwalker is a malevolent witch with the power to transform into, possess, or take on the appearance of an animal. Multiple witnesses have come forward, saying that they have not only seen multiple UFOs but also encountered strange, outworldly, scary creatures roaming freely through that property. This ranch is notorious for being a UFO hotspot, and everyone living in and around that area has definitely seen a UFO at least once. The abnormal sightings range from balls of light, white orbs, structured crafts, and these sightings occur irrespective of day or nighttime. In 1996, an American businessman named Robert Bigelow purchased the Skinwalker Ranch for $200,000. Bigelow was himself a huge UFO enthusiast, and so after hearing about all the alien and UFO encounters, this was definitely prime property for him and he had to lay his hands on it. Bigelow also established the National Institute for Discovery Science, which operated from 1995 to 2004. Its purpose was to research and promote serious investigation into various fringe science and paranormal subjects, with a particular focus on ufology. Apparently, the rancher from whom Bigelow bought the property had been living on the ranch with his family for at least 20 months. And believe it or not, those 20 months were the most horrible time of their lives. So much so that out of fear, all the 4 family members slept on the floor in the same room every night because it had messed with them so badly. They had witnessed a poltergeist kind of ghost activity. For example, the rancher's wife, after coming back from grocery shopping, would put all the groceries on the shelf and go to another room. But when she came back, all the food was stacked back in the grocery bag, like someone or something was reversing time altogether. Similarly, items from the bathroom like brushes and towels would randomly go missing. One day, the rancher's massive drilling equipment disappeared into thin air, and he later found it hanging from a tree. The family even started hearing strange voices at night, like someone was speaking to them in strange alien languages that they could definitely not comprehend. It got even more spooky when they started seeing shapes, right outside their window at night. Big, lurking humanoid shapes trying to peep into their house. This was followed by hearing heavy footsteps outside, then heavy footsteps inside, going to show that the alien creature just entered their house without even opening any door or window. Then, the scariest thing started happening. Their animals started getting mutilated. There would be tracks of cows that would lead out into the snow, and then they would just disappear, going to say that they might have been abducted by the aliens. Similarly, calves were left mutilated, cut up with surgical precision, which definitely ruled out the possibility of it being a wild animal attack. The rancher's family seemed to have gone through hell in those last 20 months. They would even see big holes in the sky, with things flying in and out of it, pretty much like an intergalactic or interdimensional portal. Initially, the rancher thought that the US government was just doing all of this to force him to sell the property and get out of there. But later he realized that these otherworldly creatures were indeed real. The entire family started seeing UFOs in all shapes and sizes. UFOs that would come at ground level and then suddenly shoot up into the sky at lightning speed. They even saw different kinds of white orbs, which seemed to be intelligently controlled, very similar to the disappearing orb seen in Area 51. Even stranger was the incident where 4 bulls mysteriously disappeared from their shed, only to reappear in a locked room, totally oblivious of how they got there. So then, when Bigelow bought the property from the rancher, he wanted to capture some proof, and so he set up cameras all over the ranch. And to his utter dismay, one of the cameras was ripped to shreds, implying that the alien creatures did not want to be recorded on camera. And this is not the first time that extraterrestrials have got miffed with someone who was trying to capture their whereabouts. Similarly, aliens supposedly having a secret base on the moon almost turned hostile. When someone got the precise location of their base, aliens having a base on the moon is not a far-fetched thought, as Elon Musk himself has expressed his desire to establish a permanent human base on the moon. He wants to build a permanent base on the moon that can be used as a launch pad for our future interstellar travel. But going back to aliens seen on the moon, back in 2019, a Russian photographer, while trying to focus on the moon, saw 3 circular objects moving near the surface of the moon. And then, when he tried to refocus, to confirm what he saw, to his amazement, now there were multiple circular UFOs moving at the same speed from left to right over the moon. It seemed like an entire battalion of UFOs was flying out for a mission over the moon. Are these UFOs connected to the alien moon base we are going to talk about? Let's find out. It all started when a psychic named Ingo Swann was employed by the CIA to remote view the dark side of the moon, specifically for alien presence. Remote viewing is a psychic projection technique where the psychic is made to sit in one location and can look into a different place anywhere on Earth purely by the power of their mind. Later on in the video, we will talk about another psychic who was also employed by the CIA for a similar purpose, but things didn't go down well for him. Going back to Ingo Swann, he released a book back in 1998 called Penetration, where he detailed his entire experience with the CIA and what all he saw on the surface of the moon. All this also came to light in 2006, when the CIA released documents regarding the highly secretive Project Stargate. We will also be talking about this project later in detail. This particular remote viewing session took place back in 1975. Ingo Swann received a call at 3 in the morning and was told to go to Washington and visit the Museum of Natural History. There he was told to stand near the elephant over the central rotunda at noon. So he went there right on time, and a military-looking man approached him and handed him a card. It read, "Do not speak or ask questions. This is for our safety as well as yours. Please follow me." Swann was then led to a car and was seated next to another military-looking man. Then the second military guy handed him another card. It read, "Please do not speak. We need to search you for listening devices." After checking him thoroughly, he was handed one final card which read, "We would like your help on a project suited for your talent. Are you comfortable in a helicopter?" After Swann agreed, a bag was placed over his head so he never knew where he was being taken, and the car sped away. Eventually, after the car ride, he was made to sit in a helicopter. After landing at the destination, Swann was led into a very silent building and then into an elevator. When the elevator reached the desired floor, the bag was removed off Swann's head, and he was then introduced to Mr. Axelrod. Axelrod then went on to make a proposal to hire Swann for remote viewing of a location while being paid $1,000 a day, to which Swann agreed. He was also told that whatever he would see through the remote viewing session should not be revealed to anyone, at least for another 10 years. The very next day, Swann was told that he would be remote viewing the moon. He was given a list of coordinates and he went through each of them, one by one. Some of the locations that were mentioned, he didn't see anything, just the barren moon's surface and craters. But then Swann came across something very interesting and confusing. He described seeing tracks on the surface of the moon, something that could be made only by some kind of lunar vehicle. Then he moved on to view a crater that was filled with a green haze, while also generating light. On closer surveillance, he was able to see something that made him freeze in his chair. He saw an active airfield on the moon. Swann described seeing large structures like hangars, roads, bridges, towers, and even machinery, which probably explains the tracks he saw on the surface before. He then moved to view a different location where he saw some structures emitting light of different colors. Swann went in to get a closer look. He could see dome-like structures, which even had windows, and also that same eerie green glow. He tried to get a clearer view of those domes and tried looking into the windows, and he was shocked by what he saw. Swann saw humanoid-like figures busy with some kind of activity. But what happened next made Swann's blood curdle. First one and then multiple humanoid figures just stopped doing what they were and started to look straight at the window, going to show that they knew that someone was viewing them. This made Swann extremely nervous, and he conveyed to Axelrod that they had seen him. Axelrod then asked Swann to come back right away. But Swann told him that they were pointing at him and things were about to turn bad. This led to mass panic in the room, and Axelrod begged Swann to return for his own safety. And that's when Swann somehow came back to reality. On opening his eyes, he confronted Axelrod and asked him, "You already know they are psychics, don't you?" To which Axelrod told him that the experiment was over and he had to go home. Why did Axelrod end the meeting with Swann so abruptly? Did he see something he was not supposed to see? And if Swann is to be believed, then these so-called humanoid figures are carrying out some kind of industrial activity on our moon. Maybe mining for some kind of rare resources. The last people to walk on the moon were Eugene A. Cernan and Harrison H. Schmitt, who were part of the Apollo 17 mission in 1972. No human has ever stepped foot on the moon after that. But a crewed mission is scheduled to launch in September 2025, which will involve 4 astronauts orbiting the moon. This mission will test NASA's capabilities for deep space exploration and will pave the way for Artemis III, which will land the first woman and person of color on the moon. Will these astronauts encounter these so-called hostile humanoids on the moon? We will have to wait till 2025 to find out. Share your thoughts in the comments section below. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for the latest revelations in space exploration. Hit the bell icon to stay updated, and let's continue to explore together.